everybody. Welcome to another edition of Box Seats. Your host, Frank Holder, here with you. This is the show we talk about sports with comedians. Let's get ready to get in on it. My man, Talent, is in the building. What's up, T? How you doing, sir?
New puppy alert. Look at the baby. Say hi. Say hi. That's Nina Simone. Got to introduce her to the audience. 3 months, man. 3 months. That's my baby.
3 months. You keeping her or you selling her?
Nah, just the one I kept from the last litter.
Oh, okay.
So,
okay.
I'm
How many
keeping
dogs
her.
you got now? How many you got now?
It's only 4. I had 5 and, passed away, and you try to replace it with love. But we got 4 in the house, and I tell her. Yeah, look at Nina. Cutie. She's a cutie. She look like she's old.
My man Mike Shaw is also in the building. Mike,
Happy birthday, Mike. There you go.
What up, Nina Simone? What's good with you?
Simone.
Say what's up.
What's good?
She's a cutie.
Yeah.
What up, Mike?
What up?
Starting off the show with cuties over here, huh? T, that's how we doing it.
You got to do it, man. Life be good life, bro. You know what I mean? I got to keep love in this house, man. I need it. You know what I mean?
We all do, bro. We all do.
Shout out to my dog Dino, who passed away a few months ago. That was my soldier. That was the only person who understood me in the drunken stupids. He was like, "You at it again, huh?"
Yes.
He was sitting right next to me and just like, "Yeah, nobody talking to you again."
You ain't never like, hey Frank, you'll be surprised how smart these dogs are, dude. When I be high on the edible, my dog just be looking at me doing this. I'm like, he knows. He be like,
Man, I'm at it again. All right, so T, you ready to get the show started, man? Let's get ready to jump into it. Yes, we were talking about the Phoenix Suns ownership, man. It looked like Matt Ishida has now agreed to buy the Phoenix Suns Mercury, and he purchased them for $4 billion after the NBA ushered out the previous owner. Here's the thing. People up here saying, yeah, the previous owner, that's what he gets, and that's what he gets. And let me just say this. He brought the Phoenix Suns 15, 20 years ago for $400 million. He just sold the Phoenix Suns. He was forcibly sold them for $4 billion. So how much punishment is he really getting? You know what I mean? For $400 million to $4 billion.
That's the kind of punishment I want. You know what? We tired of your black ass. Take this billion and go be happy.
Yeah.
I'll be like, yep. First of all, I apologize to everybody offended. Anybody want a personal rebuttal apology? I'll be in the Bahamas on my private island, dude. What is it like to be rich, man? Let me tell you something. That's your punishment. We need you to get out, sell your team. You pay $400 million, you leave with $400 billion. Come on, man. What ain't good?
Right. I gotta say this though. That's a serious increase on your investment, right, Mike? Mike, that's an investment for your AASS. You know what I mean? Like that's $400 million to $4 billion. $400 million is the interest on the money he's got right now. You know what I mean? Collectively, that's the interest on what
crazy.
It's the norm.
No,
it's like we all thought we was doing something when we made the Clippers owner sell.
Right.
He made a huge profit.
Right.
I mean, the only people that I feel good for the fact that we know they purchased it for $4 billion. At least the people with lawsuits know that they are going to get a payday. It's not going to affect him financially, but they're going to get a payday now. They know there's $4 billion that they can dig into. So shout to them. Also shout to the NBA because Daniel Snyder still owns the Commanders. It just shows you the difference between the good old boys network in the NFL and the NBA. Now, listen, everybody wins, but at least the NBA says, listen, go take this $4 billion. Because what you did was wrong, and we can't have you doing this, and you got to get out of here. But we know you're good. Like Talent said, you got your own island with your own airport. You don't have no viral videos going on at your ticket counter because there's no ticket counter. It's just you. So, I mean, but shout out to the NBA for making it happen. But you're right. Rich get richer.
So in baseball news, here was some shocking news to me, man. I saw it this morning overnight. Carlos Correa, who I thought was signing with the Giants, I thought it was a done deal. Everything else, he shocked the baseball world this morning when he agreed to go back to the Mets because the Giants were squabbling with his deal because of a health issue he had with his back. The Mets said, well, you know what, bro, here you go. 12 years, $315 million, you sign it right now. You do this right now, right? We'll give you 12 years, $315. He did it, snatched them from the jaws of the Giants everything else. And now everybody in New York is talking about it ain't the Yankees, it's the Mets. How are you feeling about that? Because you're a New Yorker. What's your take on this, T?
I mean, I wouldn't, every time there's a big signing in New York, they've been doing that. So I wouldn't get caught up in the whole, it's not the Yankees, it's the Mets. They do that every time. Every time they get a big player, they do it. First of all, didn't need them. The Mets were doing very well. Didn't need to do this big purchase. But, when you break it down, I believe the deal's over 12 years. Yeah, so 12 years. When you break it down, you're talking about every 4 years, $100 million contract. You know what I mean? That's kind of levels out when you look at it that way. But to me, you could have took that $315 million and spread that across other areas, plug a few holes that you think you might have. His position, I don't think they needed it. Not in that major way like that to put out $315 million. But hey, it's still the Yankees until it's not the Yankees. Once it's not the Yankees, you'll know, because they'll have one of those Met seasons, because they do it every other decade or something. They have that blowout Met season. It ain't here yet. It was almost here last season.
Okay, all right. I hear what you're saying with that. But I understand what Talent is saying, because he's making a whole lot of sense, Mike. But the Mets spent $800 million to free agents this offseason. $800 million. That's what they went on the books for right there. Do you think New Yorkers like Talent is going to finally turn around and say, maybe this is the Mets year? You know what I mean? Because right now, I think Talent has his finger on the pulse of New Yorkers. You know what I mean?
First of all, physicals in sports are like background checks when you're going to get a job for regular people. And when somebody and a back, if there's an issue with your back, that's like finding out that you had some drug cartel information in your background and you did 10 years. That is big time. When somebody says you're back, that's like, oh, we just found out that you kidnapped 5 people and held them hostage for a month. Like, you like, I did? The back is serious. And when you spend that much money, usually, and I'm a Met fan, it usually doesn't work out for you. But $806 million, that means if you don't win a World Series, don't tell me you got to the World Series. Don't tell me you won the division. If you don't win the World Series, it's a failure. And I don't know where the Mets, after they got done dirty about 10 years ago in that Ponzi scandal, when they lost all the money and had to get new ownership, I don't know where all this new money's coming from, but y'all better win a World Series. Y'all better win a World Series.
That's definitely that. So before we talk about the NBA, I got to just talk real fast about Franco Harris, one of my favorite players when I was a kid. Passes away, man. I was really, he's everybody knows about the Immaculate Reception, but we wanted to say something real quick, acknowledgement to Franco Harris. You want to say something real fast on Franco Harris?
Yeah, man. It's just sad because we got this human blood and emotion run through our veins that we can't help it. I mean, we all lived through that, as kids. He's part of the fabric that made us love the game. Our age, like if you're 50 years old, the Franco Harrises from that era, that's what made you start to take interest and watch the game. And, but the reality is life happens and we get up there in numbers, and we're at that age now also. We're going to start seeing those heroes, leave us. But nevertheless, a hero, a staple of the game, ain't going nowhere. Every time you talk, one thing I love about sports, they keep people who pass away are kind of alive, because you can't talk about how great somebody is now without putting it up against the past heroes.
Right.
So in that essence, in those conversations and those, pondering on the TV shows and when they're examining players of the same, caliber and stuff like that, they keep them alive in the essence that way. And he's one of those players that I think will keep alive. Rest in peace. Condolences to the family. Job well done.
Most definitely. 4-time Super Bowl champ. They getting ready to basically, they were getting ready to celebrate the Immaculate Reception this weekend, actually, 50-year celebration. He was going to get a plaque and everything at the Pittsburgh game this weekend. But Franco Harris ended up passing away in his sleep last night, Mike. What's your thoughts on when you hear about this? I mean, obviously, it's sad news, but, this dude is Pittsburgh. So what's your take?
I remember the dude in my class that had the lunchbox. He had the Franco Harris lunchbox.
Wow.
And I remember that's when, like Talent said, we started. That's when I thought the most invincible team I ever saw was a team with the steel curtain, Terry Bradshaw. I thought you couldn't beat. I was scared when I would watch the games. I'd be like, I thought Earl Campbell was invincible until he played against the Steelers.
Right.
And to be honest, Franco never got as much credit as he should have gotten because the Steel Curtain was so popular. And because Lynn Swann was making spectacular catches that we had never seen before. And the fact that he was the third leading rusher of all time when he retired was amazing. And to all you reporters, and I remember this, and I don't know why I remember this. For all you writers, your newspaper writers, who used to complain about Franco Harris stepping out of bounds, and then 30 years later, we find out what CTE was really doing to football. I would like to thank Franco Harris for not falling for the propaganda and doing rights. And rest in peace. And that's a legendary. And thank you for introducing, because it wasn't for Franco and the hated Cowboys. That's how I got into football. Then I started liking.
Honestly, I used to. There was a kid I sat next to in 7th grade. I hated him so much. He loved the Cowboys. That's how I became a Steelers fan, because I hated this kid. So that's how I got interested in football.
Hey, Frank, let me tell you how we're brainwashed. As a kid, let me tell you how we're brainwashed. I became a Cowboy fan when I was a kid because the first games I watched were the Steelers and the Cowboys in the Super Bowl.
Me too.
I was trained that the good guys were in whites and the bad guys were in black. So I started rooting for the Cowboys. Then I came to my senses.
But we all got reasons, and that's why I said I love the whole guys like him, the fabric of the game, because we all got reasons. Before I put my foot down and said, dude, you got to rep New York to the fullest. Dude, I was all over the place. And it was because we loved the players, right? Am I right? I was a Raider fan because of Marcus Allen, and Jim Plunkett days. I love what Marino did, when they had the killer bees in Miami and all that stuff. He was doing whatever. Dude, Joe Theismann and John Riggins had me in Washington. And then finally settled before Joe Montana. Him and Jerry Rice with Roger Craig, that team, they just blew everybody away. So I was stuck in San Fran until I had to wake up and say, you're a damn New Yorker.
Yeah.
Rep your city to the fullest. So being a hard worker I am and a blue collar dude, it was either take the shiny blue helmets or the hard blue collar green. And Mark Gastineau sold me.
You know what? My dad was dragging me to the New England Patriots games, and we were watching Steve Grogan, and there was nobody there. I was like, why am I going to be here? I want to root for Franco Harris and the Pittsburgh Steelers. These dudes are bums.
No, but Talent is so right. Why did I love the San Diego Chargers, Chuck Muncie, John Jefferson, Charlie Joyner, and Kellen Winslow, and Dan Fox? I love the chart. Why do they throw the ball so much? Nobody else does that. Nobody else does it.
I love the Pittsburgh Steelers because of Franco Harris. I was like, I don't like the Patriots. The Patriots
but I think that as kids,
right,
when you look back at it, we're so fickle. Like what it took us to follow was like we were more individualized.
Yeah.
So we followed these players, right? So now as grown men, we actually invest in the whole team like we're the general manager. We need to get this. If we can just get this. It ain't even your team like that, but that's how we talk. Once I put my linebacker in there, what linebacker you buying?
All right, so let's talk about the NBA now, T. You know you're going to like this one, man. The Knicks stunned the Golden State Warriors without Steph Curry and Andrew Wiggins last night. They on an 8-game winning streak, bro. Yeah, it's 8 games. The Knicks haven't won 9 games straight in years. So how are you feeling right now about the New York Knicks turning it around? It seems like that they on the right path, though, T. I can't even front. The Knicks are making it wait.
I'm so happy and mad at the same time. I'm happy, obviously, the wins 8 in a row. But the day before, see, I want to collect my money from this guy in the bar, but I got to go do a show. So I'm not going to see him for about 3-4 days probably, right? But I'm in the bar the day before, and I can't remember the exact number. So I get my first drink. He comes over, Nets fan. Y'all think y'all on the road? I said, yeah, man, we win about 7, 8 in a row already, bro. He was like, hold up, it's 7. It's not 8. So I said, it's going to be 8. He said, Golden State coming to town. I said, okay, it's going to be 8. So bet 100. He said, bet. And I just went to drink and I'll see him later. So when this happened, I was working last night. Looked at the ticker. I said, whoa. Everybody's like, why are you yelling? I said, you'll see. That's an easy 100 right there. But that's my team, man. We're the hottest thing going right now, Frank. And it's because of, and I think Mike alluded to this early in the season, coming out the end of last season, and I agree with him. It's all about Randall's head, because we know where Randall can go with it. We know his capabilities, everything, but it's about him staying in basketball mentality as a team guy. If he stays in that, Brunson's clicking down better on defense. He was a little deficit at the beginning, which caused RJ to overplay D, and that's why you're seeing RJ early numbers less. Now that everybody's clicking together as a team defensively, all those guys with offensive powers are leveling it out. Check the box score of all those games and watch us have 4 to 5 players in double figures. I love my Knicks.
Mike, what's your take on the Knicks, man, and right now, and what's your take on the Golden State Warriors? Because Golden State now is 3-15 on the road, bro. 3-15. What's your take, Mike?
I don't know. I'll let y'all tell me when it's time to panic. Because they was killing me. Like when we had more squares, they was killing me when I said when we had more squares. But it was the Hollywood square. It was the Hollywood squares of sports. I was getting murdered. I was getting
hilarious.
He ain't lying though. He ain't lying.
That's funny as hell.
I was getting sliced up. They was like, "What?"
Hollywood.
Dog, when I tell you, there is a problem in Golden State. All right. First of all, I want to apologize to the Knicks. If they keep this up, I was wrong. I thought the Knicks were going to be, well, they're still above. There are a few games above 500. I thought they'd be a 500 team. I thought they'd make it into the playoffs. I got to give Thibodeau credit. He took some guys out the rotation and he never brought them back. And the team, either that gave everybody warning that if you don't play the way I want you to play, you can get taken out this rotation. And everybody decided we're going to move the ball and let Brunson be the person who actually makes this offense move. And Julius is doing his thing. Barrett is doing his thing. Who's the other guy? Grimes, even though Grimes did something crazy. He made some foul that Thibodeau just followed him to the bench, whispering in his ear, calling him all types of foul words. Like he was just in his ear all the way to the bench. And the kid already got bad skin. He already has bad skin, and he was in the bad skin area. And I was like, dog, that's disrespectful. Like you in his bad skin and you yelling at him. He followed him to the bench. It was the end of the third quarter. He wouldn't stop.
You are so stupid, yo. Real talk. In the barbershop, why we brought up his skin?
Dog, what is he, 12? Like, who was breaking out in the NBA?
We like, back in the day, that you see that a lot, like kids going through puberty and they bump up. But I ain't seen it with these kids as of recent. Heck, come this dude in the NBA, every time he turned to the side, I'm like, what's going on?
No, when they tell him to play D, they mean dermatologist. But listen, that's my man's in them. Like, he's a quality player. I think the Knicks, they got to keep moving the ball. They got to keep playing defense. And I love the fact that Thibodeau, when he's mic'd up, he says, grab the rebound and push the ball. Like, go get it. If you can get easy points in this league, go get the easy points. And you got a bunch of 20-year-olds. Let them have it. So congratulations. And we'll see what happens with Golden State.
Right. Let's see what happens. Now, in other NBA news, I don't know if you guys peeped this, but DeAndre Ayton and Monty Williams got into another heated argument again while they were losing and ended up losing to the Wizards. So my question to you, T, is how much longer is the Phoenix Suns, who just got new ownership, you know what I mean? They literally just got new ownership. And Magic said, hey, these guys are going to set some things and they're going to make some changes and they're going to do this and this and that. And he was applauding them. I don't know what to say about this, man. What do you think about Phoenix Suns do, even though they lost again to the Washington Wizards, bro? Team they should have beat.
Well, I think you're getting to that point right now where the infighting, I think, is when you have a team with more than one player that thinks that they're the ish.
Right.
You're going to automatically go into infighting because now this is Russell Westbrook, Kevin Durant, OKC. Harding, this is that all over again. I'm thinking it's in-house fighting because some people think they're bigger who they are. Think they're, you make the coach to the coach, you may be option 2, but in your mind, you should be option 1. Mm-hmm. So that's going to cause play conflict. You know what I mean? And that's what it looks like is going on out there, man. Because there's no reason if it's just on the court and everybody respects everybody and they're getting along, there's no reason they don't have fun. I watched an interview the other night after the Cleveland Cavs game with Donovan Mitchell, the amount of fun that they're saying they having just on and off the court.
Right.
They're like, how are you guys playing so good together? He said, dude, we be wilding, man. Like, we going to locker room, we cracking up, we having dance contests, we talking about people, mama. Like, and then we carry it over to the floor. We go from the layup line to the bell, the whistle going off, and we playing like real friends. Like he said, we cool as hell. And this is a Cleveland team he was just dumped into.
Right.
So I think if Phoenix get there, you'd see less fighting, but that's always going to happen. If I think my worth is higher than the coach believe it is, we're going to have a problem.
But the problem really could be, though, Monty Williams could be mad at DeAndre Ayton because he defensively, he seems like he's not putting a lot into it. You know what I mean? He seemed like he's really lax. You know what I mean? I think maybe
I get it.
That's what I think is the problem. What you agree to?
I get that part. I get it. But again, when you decipher why somebody's lacking in any area, it'd be back to the reason I just said. Like, if I think you don't respect me as the number one, you got me as the number two, and I'm not getting the calls or whatever, you're going to get some lackluster from me. I'm going to jump for less rebounds. I'm going to try to block less shots. I'm going to move different.
Yeah. I mean, listen, Mike, what Talent is talking about makes tons of sense because at the end of the day, like, this is the second dust up. So my question to you, Mike, is how long is the Phoenix Suns management going to put up with this? Because you're not supposed to be arguing with your head coach. You're not supposed to be doing that.
Yeah, but when you got to choose between a star athlete and a coach that's never won a championship, the coach normally comes up on the wrong end of that. And
Van Gundy.
Yeah. Shout out to Van Gundy and shout out to
both of them.
Shout out to whatever, I forget what was the name of the head coach that got fired by Magic, Paul Westhead. Shout out to him. He got eliminated. And they won a championship. Won a championship. And Magic was like, I'm not feeling this dude. So I think Monty should be careful. I think Talent brings up a great point. You are supposed to believe you're as good as everybody or better than everybody on that court. But when it comes to winning a championship, you have a part to play, and you got to play that part. And if he's not going to play it, it's going to be hard because Devin Booker is the leader of that team. He's the star. Right. You're second fiddle and maybe even third fiddle because Chris Paul's still on the team. But I'm worried that Monty Williams, if they don't make a run and they don't get to the finals, that he's going to be shown the door. Because I don't know if teams are going to give up what they would want in an equal trade if they would get what they really want for that guy. And he is a star player. Now, does he bring it every night? I don't watch all the Phoenix games, so I'm not going to sit here and say he does or he doesn't. But a lot of people have said he's laxed on defense and he should be more intimidating and he should be top 3 in rebounds. I don't know where he's at, but that's people's complaint.
Speaking of lax on defense, another NBA team, is having a lot of issues with somebody who's playing lax on defense. It's Zach LaVine. Zach LaVine's getting into it with DeMar DeRozan, the rest of his teammates and everything else. The Chicago Bulls got routed by Minnesota on Sunday, 150-126, but they ended up beating Miami 113-103. Zach LaVine ended up playing a little bit better, but he's not seeing eye to eye with management. He's not seeing eye to eye with a lot of the players. And honestly, it's a lot of trade rumors on him going to the Lakers. What you think about this Zach LaVine issue with the Chicago Bulls right now? Should they trade him? Should they trade for him? What's your thoughts?
Well, I'm gonna tell you right now, it's just very simple that it's frustrating to be not where you want to be. Right. Chicago is one of those teams coming off of the previous year and season of play that they expected to be way better, and they're in a place right now that's frustrating. And guess what? The main ingredient of an implosion is frustration in sports. So if it's internal and you don't feel like you are getting where you want to be, because look at last year, look at this year. It's too drastic of a dip.
Right.
And when your expectation levels is, we're going to be top 5, top 4, we won this away from the chip. Because we were saying this last year. Last year during the playoffs, between them, Miami, a couple of other teams, we was like, if they could beat this series, they could do this. They could get here. They can get to the chip. We've seen a way, in other words. Right now, you don't see a way.
Yeah.
And when the team take a dip that low from expectation, implosion, bro. Main ingredient.
Yeah, Lonzo Ball's hurt. They explode. They're not playing heavy defense as possible. They're not doing what they're supposed to do. Mike, Sean, what you're taking the Chicago Bulls right now, having these issues with Zach LaVine. Should they trade him? Should they trade DeMar DeRozan? Because I don't think DeMar DeRozan wants to be there either. I'm just saying that. Like, these are the words that people are saying. I haven't seen any of the Bulls games, but people are saying, and I've saw 4 articles saying, Chicago Bulls should trade Zach LaVine. That's what they're saying right now. And
they talking about it.
with him.
You can't. Every answer to a dilemma on a team can't be traded. Like it's everybody's answer. Trade him. Well,
thank you.
At some point, you gotta figure out, is this organization not capable of solving problems within their own team?
Right.
Because there's going to be more problems. Zach LaVine, I think, is in the same gist of, I think Zach LaVine thinks he's the best player on the team. I think that's what he believes. Whether he is or not, I don't know. But that's a problem that I don't have the answer. I don't know what you do. That's when the leadership of that team has to come together and figure out, if you're going to trade him, understand. People are going to look back when he's scoring 24 points for another team. They're going to come for your neck, and they're going to bring that back up, no matter where he does it. It could be in Sacramento. It could be anywhere. So the answer of just trading dudes when they're causing problems, I don't know the whole story behind that. I don't know what's going on. There's a chance that Zach might be right. He just might be right. And it might be a deeper problem than what we know of.
Very well said. Very well said, my brother. All right, T, we get ready to move on. See, the time is ticking. Let's move on to Thursday night game. Zach Wilson and the New York Jets look like they're playing the Jaguars. Mike White was not cleared to play. Zach Wilson is getting the start nod and everything else. What's your take on Zach Wilson getting the start nod and Mike White still not being cleared to play? Because people in New York, according to what I'm reading, is people in New York were like, yeah, we don't want Zach Wilson to start, and they have issues. I don't understand. I don't get it. I don't understand. So,
well, people in New York can kiss my ass. First of all, people in New York can kiss my entire ass.
Damn.
Week to week,
filling in for Rodney Perry. Put your hands together.
I'm gonna go with results, Frank. I'm gonna take my personal feelings. I'm gonna put them away, tuck them in my drawer here in the office. And I'm going to go with results. I can't be mad that Zach Wilson is getting a start again this week, looking at his numbers from last week. He came and he played. He came and he played like he's supposed to play. He didn't let nobody. That game was not his loss. We all seen what happened in that game. And he came and he gave us the Zach Wilson that we've been waiting to see since 4 or 5 weeks ago, when you wouldn't even admit to stinking up the field. So he came, he showed that he's capable, he's back. How about who's the starting coach this week?
That's a good one.
Who the hell are we going to start as head coach? How about that? Is Bill Parcells out? Is he around? Because this is ridiculous. I need this game. This is what we're I'm gonna predict this game. The only way the Jets win this game, of course, the defense will do what they do. I'm so like, mail that in. They already confirmed. But the way the Jets win this game and the last two after that, because they're going to be on the road, you have to have the lead. We can't be playing from behind, Pause. We can't be playing from behind again. This is the last games of the season. We need them if we're going to inch our way into the playoffs. Coaching has to be primo.
All right, T, let me ask you a question. Yeah, the Jets come. Let's do a hypothetical, right? Let's say both QBs are healthy, and you got your first game in the playoffs you've had in years. Zach Wilson healthy, Mike White healthy. Who's starting?
Both healthy. I still got to go with Zach Wilson.
Wow.
Now, again, if I go with my feelings, I'm gonna say Mike White. But if I go with the numbers, given how this dude played last week,
yeah, but don't go by the numbers. Go by your eye test. Don't go by the numbers. Go by your eye test. What's your? If I go by my eye test, I'm going back to Wilson because I just watched him do that. That's the eye test. Okay.
I just watched him play a great game, with minimum flaws, and it came down to the coach just not providing. It's like us as parents, bro. We provide our kids with everything we can for them to win. We can't just send them out into the wilderness. This dude was out there in the wilderness doing his damn thing, and at the very end, when it gave him time to have closure, so to speak, the coach said, let me see what we can do in 1 second. So I'm gonna go with that. Now, if he stink up the field this week, Frank, ask me this again on Monday.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you. I'm gonna ask you. I'm a Jets hater. I'm gonna ask you. All right, so Mike, here's the question. Like I asked you, you got You got the problems that the Jets are having. Like, should Zach start? Should Mike White start? My question to you: it's the playoffs. Jets are in the playoffs. First time they've been in the playoffs in years. You got a healthy Zach Wilson. You got a healthy Mike White. Who would you, from the eye test, who would you rather have start?
First of all, I'm not putting the eye test on neither one of these dudes. Neither one of them are that good to put the eye test. Like they're jumping off. I'm not saying they're not good, but they're not jumping off the screen. And my thing is, they both have played in the last 3 games. You know what the Jets have done? Let's take the head coach out. The Jets have lost 3 in a row. Both quarterbacks played in those 3 games. Both.
Right.
And they lost. So, like, I don't know what this whole dilemma is. Listen, pick a quarterback, whoever it is, and understand he's going to have some low moments. He's going to have some high moments. They're both young quarterbacks. Yep. You have to make that tough decision and say, this is the guy. I'm going with him for the rest of the season. You can't have this hot potato. Oh, he had a bad quarter. Got to take him out. Oh, he had 2 straight good quarters. Got to keep him in. No, you choose. You're the head coach. Make a freaking decision and stick by it. And since you're the man in charge, you got to make the hard choice. Pick one. Because this whole thing of having to go back and forth with a guy, Mike White and Zach Wilson, like, exactly what have they done in this league to deserve somebody to be like, yo, that eye test is crazy? Like, we know one thing about Mike White. He got some power in them ribs. Like, God bless him. He's a tough guy, and I'll take that. I've never seen Zach Wilson take a hit like that, but who knows? I don't get it. Pick one and go with it.
All right, so let's look at the Rams now, T. The Rams, Matthew Stafford, believe it or not, who's on the injured reserve, he said he has a spinal contusion, and people are literally talking to him and asking him that whether or not he's going to continue to play because he's getting advised to retire from the Rams, and the Rams are obviously thinking about keeping. Oh my God! No, I can't remember his name.
Baker Mayfield.
Baker Mayfield. Thank you. Thinking about keeping Baker Mayfield, and because they're advising Matthew Stafford to retire because of his spinal contusion. So what do you think the Rams are going to do? You think they're going to sit there and say, you know what, we're going to follow what, advice you're getting, and we're going to go with Baker Mayfield, and we're going to cut you, or do you think they're going to stick with him and go with him?
If he doesn't retire, Frank, I think they're not going to cut him. I think they would like to smoothly make a transition, but Baker Mayfield's going to consult with the people he's doing the commercials with, the pieces, so he's going to talk to them and see how long he's going to be doing commercials and how much money that is, because that's what you got to factor in. If I play one more year and I'm making, I don't know, an extra 20 million with my endorsements, that's going to make a decision, because football players, and no disrespect, but disrespect, football players are stupid as like, football players are not the brightest dudes, man. They're not the brightest bulbs in the box. So they will, doctors, and this is proven, this is a fact, this is not me guessing. Doctors have told football players over the years, many of football players, hey man, you might want to end your career because you get hit the right way, you ain't gonna walk, or your brain damage or whatever. And guess what those football players time and time again have opted to do?
Continue to play. Yeah, continue to play.
Basketball is a smart because when you tell a dude he might not walk basketball, they be opting out. But football, I just gotta watch out for the tackles. Okay, stupid. Sometimes no tackles, you can't see them coming.
Facts.
All facts. Michael Sean.
On facts.
Should Matthew Stafford retire because of his spinal contusion that he's being advised to do for the LA Rams? Or should he continue to play again? That is what he wants to do.
If before this year's contract, before the money he makes this year, he was worth $80 million, right?
Yeah.
Even without the $80 million, if a doctor says any word that sounds like spine, I retire. If he says sprain too hard, I might be like, I'm gone. It's the spine.
Oh my God.
This ain't the ankle. This ain't rehabbing a knee. It's the spine. Like, what's funny? And I hate agreeing with Talent so much, but when he says football players, who do we think is one of the most brilliant football players ever? Will we say Peyton Manning is one of the most brilliant football players ever?
Absolutely.
He risked it all.
Yeah, he did.
He had 7 neck surgeries. He knew if he got hit the right way, he might not walk again. and he won a Super Bowl, so people won't call him a stupid dummy. I will. I'm not risking all that. I'm not risking walking around a resort with a cocktail, a non-alcoholic cocktail in my hand, hollering at chicks because I'm still Peyton Manning and I'm standing straight up. I would have never taken that chance. I'm like, oh, Tom Brady's better than me. Yeah, but I can walk. I'm walking. That's all. Matthew Stafford, go home. If Matthew Stafford were to win another Super Bowl, it wouldn't change anything in his legacy. Nothing.
Right.
It would just be 2. It would be great, but it would just be 2. Go on, go live your life. I'm gonna say double pause on this. You're a handsome man. Double pause. You're an articulate man.
I don't think you have to pause that.
I don't have to pause handsome, do I?
No. If you go any further, like what are you doing tonight? Stuff like that.
If I complimented his lips, I probably should have said. Probably should have said. But my thing is, this guy has got a whole career. We know he's going to be on some network somewhere. Jason Garrett got a job.
Oh, God.
Matthew Stafford is going to get a job. Go home. You're good. Just chill. Don't risk your life. It's called a spine.
His lips.
It's hilarious. Not the lips.
He ain't lying. Speaking of being hurt, man, Jalen Hurts is talking about he might play in this huge Eagle versus the Cowboys game this week, man. And Jalen Hurts has been advised, like, bro, your shoulder sprain, sit out. It's not important that you play. It's really not important that you play. I know it's a big game. Everybody's talking. It's a big game, and he wants to play, so he may play. If you're his advisor, I know you got to be saying like, bro, sit down. I know. What do you say? It's a big game, though. It's a big game.
I'm betting my money on thinking that this is the fake me out 2000, because this is the new football. The new football is we're not sure. He's not cleared yet. He's uncertain. These are words they use. Uncertain. I think it's the fake me out 2000 because the team that's going to play me, we're getting them nervous with the possibility, so that their game plan could be geared towards that, and then their decision, we're gonna sit them down. So now I leave you scrambling last minute with a big adjustment because you were prepared and your game plan was this way, and at the last minute I hit you with this to change it all up. I don't think he's gonna play. I think they're very smart, way smarter than that, up the management and coaching staff. Also, the only thing to think about here, and it damn sure ain't placing you. You got that sewn up. You guys are good money. You got it locked down. The only thing anybody's thinking about that could cause an asinine decision for this man to play partially hurt is the MVP race.
Right.
That's the only thing that somebody could be thinking about. Like, man, if I miss a game, it's going to affect my MVP. Guess what? Not really. It could work both ways. You can miss a game, and your team could stink it up and need you that bad, makes you more valuable.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So before I go to Mike real fast, Eagles playing the Cowboys. Who you got?
Oh, I got to take the Cowboys. The other guys ain't got the quarterback. I'm not falling for the 52 fake out, man. I'm going Cowboys this week. You ain't got your quarterback. We never even heard. Did you see the backup? I think I seen this dude in Kentucky.
Gordon Minshew. Is it Gordon Minshew their backup? Gordon Minshew's their backup.
Yeah, he's their backup.
Bro, yeah. I'm not betting on that guy. I'm betting on a guy, Dak Prescott. If nothing else, he's the guy who forever has something to prove.
Every time I see Gordon Minshew, I think I do it like this with his mustache. You know what I mean? This guy. This guy.
I'm always bet on the guy that got to prove something.
Yeah, I'm trying to tell you. All right, so Mike, here it is. Jalen Hurts, big, huge game, one of the biggest games the Eagles have played in years since maybe their Super Bowl run. You know what I mean? Jalen Hurts wants to play. Everything Talent just said makes a lot of sense about, maybe he's thinking about his MVP run. Maybe he's figuring, I don't know. How are you looking at this?
He should observe Kwanzaa this weekend and say that's why he's sitting out. You are not touching the field. First of all, the minute you knew you was going to be a football player, you should illegally change that last name of Hurts. That's not a good name to have as a quarterback in this league. There's no way you should have stayed with that name. He's going to want to play, and I think the MVP has a lot to do with it. He wants to win that MVP. He knows the leverage that it brings to the negotiations of that big contract he's going to want at the end of the season. But you know what's a real negotiating ploy? Is being the MVP of the Super Bowl, Jalen. If you get to the Super Bowl and you're the MVP, now there's nothing they can't, anything you ask for, they have to give you. So chill, relax. And do I have Dallas in this game? Yes, I think this is a bad game because Dallas has everything to play for. And the Eagles really know that all they got to do is beat the Saints or the Giants. And if they beat the Saints, they actually should want to beat the Saints more than the Cowboys, because if they beat the Saints, it improves their draft pick that they got from the Saints. So literally, they have more motivation to beat the Saints, and actually, they're going to have a top 5 draft pick and may go to the Super Bowl. So Jalen, sit down. It's Kwanzaa. Relax.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. All right, so T, the next thing we have up is the Baltimore Ravens claimed Sammy Watkins as Devin Duvernay is put on the injured reserve list. So it looked like the Baltimore Ravens got a disgruntled wide receiver to come over and play for them. You know what I mean? And Sammy Watkins, as we all recall, he was on the Kansas City Chiefs. And now he's landing on the Baltimore Ravens. I don't know if this is an upgrade or not, because people are saying he hasn't played that well this season and everything else. Lamar Jackson's still not playing. So what's your take on Baltimore Ravens claiming him? And should they say, you know what, scrap this season and worry about next season, or should they make, because they still in the playoffs, bro? They still in the playoffs.
Nah, you don't scrap this season. You play to the end. I don't believe in that. Like, because when you slow down, momentum's a thing. You know what I mean? And don't disrupt it if you can obtain it. I think they play these games out for real, like your life depend on it. And you're going to be ready and warmed up in the playoffs, because you ain't like you're going to be one of them teams getting a bye.
Right. But is he going to be the difference maker? Is he going to be the difference maker for Lamar Jackson finally to get a wide receiver like of his caliber?
Absolutely. If I'm the Ravens, bro, to be honest with you, the only thing I would really care about, because this offense have changed from what we know it to be since like the Ray Rices. With Lamar, it's a passing offense. So the only thing you need to be concerned with is making sure that line is tight and get his guy as many options as possible. That's how the Ravens are going to win. The Ravens are like the Bizarro of the Chiefs right now. Like, all the Chiefs is offense. Mm-hmm. That's all they are, is offense. They can't stop a goddamn nosebleed. You understand what I'm saying? But they're going to outscore you, and that's what the Ravens can be with this option.
Okay, all right. Mike Sean, how do you think it looks right now for Lamar Jackson to finally get a wide receiver of his caliber, of Sammy Watkins' caliber? Because Sammy Watkins, they're saying, might have lost a step or two. I don't know, just from what I read in the article. What's your take on this, bro?
Is Lamar gonna play this weekend? I don't know for sure. Is he playing this weekend?
Right now, I heard he wasn't. When I read 2 days ago.
Can you imagine being Lamar Jackson? You're sitting home, and then you hear they got a receiver, and you go like, "Ain't that about a bitch?" I've been asking my whole career. Like, you got rid of my star receiver, and now when I'm hurt, and you realize, we should get this other quarterback some more help. Well, what about me? When I'm in there risking my life, game in and game out, now you want to get Sammy Watkins, then somebody whispered in his ear, you do know he's 50. Oh, good. Sammy Watkins, like, when you talk about lost the step, like, he's not in his house in the living room for nothing. There's a reason why he hasn't caught on and nobody else picked him up. But God bless. God bless. I don't know. Like, you're talking about a team that they won't even look at Odell. He's like, you won't even look at Odell. They'll be like, let's get Sammy Watkins. Now, so, the change is coming.
So, T, in Seattle Seahawks news, Seattle Seahawks right now is 1 game out of being in the playoffs. They, you know what I mean? Like, they have a lock in the playoffs. People are saying the next couple of weeks obviously are crucial for them. Do you think the Seattle Seahawks will make the playoffs? And if so, is this a successful season for them if they make the playoffs?
Man, I am hoping so. I'm so rooting for Seattle to make the playoffs. Again, all for Geno Smith. If nothing else, I'm nothing into the Seattle Seahawks, but I am proud of this man's comeback of his career. So I want him to go as far as possible. And I think by watching them play, nobody's wiping the floor with these guys. Mm-hmm. They're a football team. Nobody's wiping the floor where you could just go, they're coming in and they're playing. And just like my Jets, they find themselves at the end of these games with chances to either take the lead or tie and go into an overtime. So, Yeah, I think so. I actually got Seattle this week, to upset because they're the underdog this week by I think 3 points or something. But I got Seattle. Oh no, they giving Seattle 10 points.
Wow.
Who's Seattle playing?
Wow.
Seattle is getting 10 points, my brother. I'm telling you right now. Seattle is getting 10 points from the Chiefs.
Wow.
Chiefs at home giving Seattle 10. But here's the thing, from a betting man standpoint, as good as the Chiefs are, they don't cover.
Yeah, that's true too. So Mike
they
Sean,
ain't blown nobody out since the first 5 games.
So Mike Sean, how are you feeling about Seattle making the playoffs? Because they're some must-win games right now. They're having these right now.
Hey, I'm proud of Geno Smith. God bless him, but Seattle just is going to make the playoffs just to lose.
Right.
And it's just one of those teams. They got to fill spots. So come on in. You can make it on in here and get knocked out in the first round. But Geno Smith has revived his career. I give a big shout to him. 10 points. Watching the Chiefs barely beat the Texans, and they're giving them 10 points, but they are at home. So Patrick Mahomes could have a wild game. But hey, if you're a Seattle Seahawks fan, what can you say except this is a success unless you get blown out the last 3 games of the season. But to this point, yeah, it's been a success. God bless. And Geno's going to be in the league next year.
Most definitely. Let's talk about your Giants, T. The Giants lost 4 in a row. I don't know if they won last week. I think they lost last week too.
No, they won. They won.
Okay, yeah, that's right. Giants fan, you would know. So they lost 4. They ended up winning one game. Everything else. People are saying they're still in the wild card mix too. They're right outside the bubble. What's your take on the Giants? Do the Giants make the playoffs? And if so, will they make a little bit of noise? How you feeling?
I hope they don't make it.
That's hate.
Yeah, I know it's hate.
That's ridiculous.
But they're boring. They're boring to watch.
Damn,
I'm sorry. The most compelling thing to watch when the Giants play is them helmets. Very shiny. But other than that, I'm like, I sit and watch a Giant game, bro. You're lucky if you get some explosion by the fourth quarter, something happened, some turnover, some score, pick 6 or something. They're really not that great to watch. And to be honest with you, the talent on the Giants, other than with the exception of Barkley, Saquon's definitely a top back. Exception of that, bro, you got a lot of mediocre ballers out there. Mm-hmm. Quarterback down. You got a lot of mediocre ballers out there. I'm not a believer. I'm not a believer in Jones. Sorry. So I don't see them going far. Some of these teams, I always say this when we come up on the playoffs and get to the wild card, some of these teams are just, for lack of a better expression, in the way.
Okay.
Giants might be in the way.
Giants in the way. I like that. Mike Sean, you're the Giants. You are a Giants.
Sorry, Mike.
Oh, man,
Giants.
Sorry, Mike.
These guys will sit here and talk about Mike White and Zach Wilson as a quarterback controversy, and neither one of them is as good as Daniel Jones. Neither one of them are as good. They're 8-5. Now, I'm going to digress because I've been dying to say this. What the NFL referees did to the Commanders the last game against the Giants is one of the most disgusting displays on how the NFL does certain owners. You can't tell me the Tuck rule had nothing to do with Al Davis, and you can't tell me one of the 2 bogus calls, and I wanted the Giants to win, one of the 2 most bogus calls I've ever seen back to back wasn't because they're beef with Daniel Snyder. The official literally looked at the receiver, and the receiver from the Commanders looked at him to make sure he was correct on the formation.
Right.
And the official said nothing, like he couldn't wait to call it. Then they blew a pass interference that was one of the most blatant pass interferences ever. This is what infuriates me about the NFL. Y'all get mad and y'all call us conspiracy theorists when we say the game is rigged. And then you do that on a nationally broadcast damn game and don't do nothing to those officials. So what are we supposed to think, NFL? That's my gripe. Thank you. I finally got it off my chest.
You know what? Everything he said, T, is 1,000% right. I saw this, and I don't have a bone in either one. Like, I'm not a Giants fan. I'm not a Commanders fan. I was like, wow, they're getting robbed. If the playoffs were to end today, right, the Dallas Cowboys would be facing the Tampa Bay Bucks right now. So, T, would the Dallas Cowboys beat the Bucks in their first playoff game in years if the playoffs was to end today? Because honestly, I think the Cowboys could beat the Bucks. That's what I think.
Here's the thing. These 2 crumbs would come down to a home game. Who would have home? Dallas?
Tampa Bay, if they won the division.
Yeah, if Tampa Bay wins the division, they have it at home.
Then I think Tampa could beat Dallas.
Think so?
I think if it started today, and if that game's played in Tampa, I would bet on Tampa with the edge out over Dallas. And if it was in Dallas, I would bet on Dallas with the edge out, because these teams ain't nobody that much powerful than the other team. But I think that home court helps out. That home field is a big advantage.
Okay. All right.
You ever been to a Tampa game? They shoot that damn cannon, scare the hell out of half the
people. It'll definitely wake up all the old folks. It makes up all the old folks in the neighborhood. That's for damn sure. Mike, you a Dallas Cowboys? I don't see a Dallas Cowboy fan. You lived in Dallas Cowboys area for years. So what's your take, bro? If Dallas was to face Tampa Bay right now, if it ends right now, as is right now, Dallas is facing Tampa Bay. What's your take?
Yo, every time that cannon goes on in the Tampa Bay Stadium, a reggae DJ brings the record back. I swear to God. Yo, I believe because the Dallas defense has a low IQ. They are, you do a double move on Diggs and you got him every single time. I believe Tom Brady, that will be his last victory in the NFL. It will be against the Cowboys, because I don't think he's going to play next year. I think that will be his last victory, because that team does one thing. They rush the passer, and Tom Brady knows how to get rid of that ball. And he's not going to sit right there and let you guys take shots at him. I think that would be Tom Brady's last victory in the NFL. Then he'll move on and lose the next round of the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree with that 1,000%. You guys look at the time, man. The time is just squeezing up everything else. So, T, where we at? What you doing this weekend, man? What else is going on in the world of talent?
Hey, listen, man, it's a busy weekend. On my way to the Stress Factory in New Brunswick. As soon as we get off of here, we got the Christmas show, the holiday show happening tonight with Miss Jones, R&B singer with her band live. Got a bunch of comics like Cool Baba Ice going to be in the building. That's happening tonight at 7 at the Stress Factory, 90 Church Street. Tomorrow, going up to the Rock, baby, Rochester in the building at the Urban Euphoria. Got a good lineup up there. Going to be JoJo Collins, my girl Sunshine, originally from Rochester, coming in from Atlanta. She'll be on this show. A couple of more local friends will be hitting the stage as well. Friday, doing a show up in Poughkeepsie, New York on Friday night. And then, praise God, Saturday, which is Christmas Eve, and Sunday, which is Christmas Day, your boy will have his feet up on the lounge chair, watching basketball, watching football. Yo, I'm going to be sportsed out Saturday and Sunday. You understand me? Do you understand the bulk of the NFL games are on Saturday?
That's going to be amazing.
We're going to talk about that tomorrow. We're going to have to go hit that. We have to talk about
Only
it tomorrow.
3 games on Sunday. Everybody else is Saturday.
Yeah, that most definitely. Mike, I know you got some stuff moving and shaking too. Can you talk to me, bro?
Well, I'm going to go check out the Stress Factory tonight and check out Talent Show tonight, and everybody in Jonesy, and check everybody out. I just want to shout out the inspectors who came out to inspect my townhouse. Y'all know it's been sold, and I would like to tell the inspectors, after having me do labor that I'm not built for, I'm the fakest Puerto Rican in the history of Puerto Ricans. I can't fix anything. But I put labor in, and I fixed things in this place. And they took all of 60 seconds to look it over and say, you passed. Thank you for the pass, but thank you for the hustle that you put on and the money that I had to spend. And I see the hustle that you guys got going on. Both inspectors, the plumbing inspector and the sprinkler inspector. Who knew there was an inspector that just inspects sprinklers? That's all I have to say.
That's a job? I didn't even know it was a job.
That's a job. He checked my sprinklers. That's what he did. And then had the nerve to look at my grass and be like, well, these sprinklers didn't do a good job. He had jokes. I said, how about you just check my sprinklers and get your sprinkly ass out of here? Like, this is ridiculous.
The show called Box Seats. We talk about sports with comedians. I got to thank the people who are continuing to support the show and watch the show. Coming on again at 7 and 11 tonight. Download the Humor Mill app. And
wait, Frank, real quick. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Whenever you end, I don't know why you do this, but you interrupt yourself. Like, as you're talking, you hit the button. Why do you cut yourself off?
I don't hit it. It sticks. I'm not doing that on purpose.
Oh, you don't do it on purpose? I thought that was some new thing you had. Like, that was going to be your thing. Like,
I gotta hit the button. Then I gotta hit the button again. Then I gotta hit the button again. And it's not on my end. It's the button on the interface.
Just say bye and hit the button. Just say bye now, because you're gonna cut yourself off.
It's the button that sticks. But I'm gonna say bye, and then I'm gonna wait for the part. Hold on. I'm gonna say bye, and then we wait for the part. Bye.